Okay, so eventually she gets into the convent, and let's talk about that. What age did she actually? Did she enter the convent?
15.
She entered the convent at 15, and she was there for 9 years, right?
Yep, until 24.
So when she joined, a lot of the sisters were worried that she was too young and that they'd be too gentle on her. Because they're like, she's 15, we're going to treat her like a kid. And there were some sisters that like just were really rude. Right. And intense, because they're like, you need this formation and everyone else is going to baby you. So I'm going to do it.
I hear, though, I mean, this was, what, 1880s? Or, 1880s, right? Something like that?
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah, and
it was like 1870, or like
late
1800s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always hear these sort of horror stories of how rough and tough the convents and monasteries are. And my sister-in-law is in a convent, and it literally just seems like a giant awesome sleepover where they go to adoration a lot, and they do charitable work. Like everyone seems so happy.
It said they were doing 6 hours of prayer a day, 2 hours of like prayer, and then 4 hours of liturgy, is what it said. And then also
for Saint Therese.
That's what she was doing. 6
and what
hours
was her
of
order?
Carmelites.
Great.
Yeah. But they also said like the convent was suffering from Jainism or Jadism.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
like the heresy.
The heresy. So she said a lot of her sisters were struggling with like the perception of God as like overbearing ruler, or like really harsh.
Right.
And so there was lots of scrupulosity within the convent, like tons of scrupulosity.
Okay.
So the whole church was suffering from that at the time.
Yeah.
And so like she felt that very personally.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I know that she struggled with scrupulosity herself some, which is it's neat though, because I think she even acknowledges that she was struggling with scrupulosity, right, and that this was a bad thing, which is good and something that we need to hear, especially as Catholics, and I've often amongst like new converts, it seems like, and people who have reverted or are newly on fire for their faith and are just beating themselves up and treating God like he is some tyrant with a spreadsheet who is just entering every little thing.
He's doing math.
He's doing math, which is bad because
point proven.
Which is obviously not true because God does not like math. No, I'm kidding. That's not the point I want to draw. No, but the idea of scrupulosity,
the Trinity,
being such an issue. Okay, cool. So she's in this convent. It's really rough. What is that? Is she in the same convent as her sisters?
Yeah. Both her sisters.
So they're both of them. They're 4, right?
There's 4. The other 2 entered a different.
Okay, so
she's
she
was in visitation.
I think so.
Yeah,
the 2 of her sisters were in the same one.
Was she a cloistered nun?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's pick that up in the convent.
Yeah, cloisters at that time we have to think is very different. Like she was Therese of Lisieux, the cloister was in Lisieux. So in our day and age, if you want to join a community, you have to like travel.
Right.
Where it's more you're there and this is the people around you. As well as I think discernment was probably a little bit different. I think it was more of a norm to go to a convent to protect like you from the outside world. Whereas now it's like you have a calling.
Right.
Not that they didn't have callings, like Therese obviously did. But I'm sure there was more people back then joining a convent for the wrong reasons.
Gotcha.
And I think that's why it's easy to look at now. Like, yeah, it looks super fun, like a giant sleepover with a bunch of women and Jesus. But back then it was probably more of, we're joining to be away from the world, maybe financial struggles, things like that.
Right. Okay.
And that'll add this layer of stress of not belonging.
Sure. So she's there. She's with her sister. She's in Lisieux. Is that where she was from originally? Did she?
I think so.
Well, they moved after her mom died. So they originally were from some other city in France.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and go back and watch the full-length video. We talk a lot more about this. We get into some other stuff. I think you'll love it. Thanks.